Are you religious?
No. Religion to me is a construct of how other people have been in relationship with God. I am so a couple years ago, I had a conversation with God. I believe it to be a genuine conversation, and I was reading. Have you read the Bible by chance? I recommend you read it.
Everybody's saying I should do that.
Okay, then so maybe that's God telling you to read it. So there's this. Have you heard of King David? You've heard of the Star of David. So King David has a son. His name's Solomon. There's a story in the Bible where Solomon is dreaming. He goes into dream state, and God comes to him in dream state, and God says to Solomon, "Anything that you want, I will give you. If you want wealth, I'll give you wealth. I'll make you the richest man. If you want kingdoms, I'll give you the kingdoms. Tell me whatever it is that you want, and I'll give it to you." And Solomon didn't ask for riches, didn't ask for kingdoms. He asked for one thing. He said, "Give me wisdom." And God gave him wisdom. And after that, the riches came, the kingdoms came, and every other thing that comes with it. So as I read that, I sat there and I was like, God, give me wisdom. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what this means, but give me wisdom and allow me to be a person that makes decisions not out of spontaneity, not out of reactiveness or out of emotion, but out of a state of mind in which I can be wise. And from that, everything else will come. So my relationship with God is now a pursuit of truth and a pursuit of wisdom. And I think it's working.
Seems like it is. Do you have anything about yourself that you're not happy with, or you feel like is holding you back or getting in the way? Because I don't feel like you're the type of guy that has many bad habits, but I feel like everybody has some.
Yes. I have skeletons in my closet, brother. But I don't think I have addictions. I think sometimes I'm disobedient.
What, to yourself or
to the truth?
Okay.
To knowing what you need to do and not doing it. But I don't like to be this person that's attached to things. You know, at a point I was smoking weed. I've been sober from it. Why? Because I realized that thing was controlling my life. And it's not that, oh, it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's realizing that if it controls me, then, and I'm not controlling it, then I'm being disobedient. Why? Because I don't need anything controlling me. I don't need anything dictating how I operate, waking up and smoking a joint, or waking up and drinking alcohol, or whatever it may be. It could even be a good thing that you overdo. But this entire concept of kind of being in a situation whereby I have addictions, I would say I've steered clear from a lot of those, but I do have times where I'm disobedient to what I know I'm supposed to do, and I choose to not be obedient to those things that I've committed to myself.
It's weird. Sometimes you get a bit of a kick just like being disobedient to yourself sometimes.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to let loose, but at the same time, it's like, I would say another thing, consistency. You know, this principle of, there's different people operate in different ways. I consider myself a polymath of sorts. So I like to study different things at different times. So I'll study mathematics, I'll study architecture, I'll study business, developing a complete mind, right? Under this principle of Da Vinci. Of course, I'm no Da Vinci by no stretch of the imagination, but I like to study multiple things. In that creative mind, you often find spurts of genius here, whereby, for example, you've developed that consistency compounding effect. Clearly it's visible with your fucking arms, whereby the consistency compounds, right? And in that consistency that compounds, you have the building process. And there's two ways of, doing great things. You can have spurts of success, or you can have the compounding effect. In my life, I've had these spurts of kind of just massive wins. Because I go into a massive win and then kind of like I chill, or I meditate, or I vibe, and I kind of just hang out, kind of like what I've been doing the last 2 years. And then I'll have like another spurt. I would like to develop a sense of continuity. I would like to experience that. I wouldn't say it's a good or a bad thing, but there's definitely things in my life that I can be more consistent in.
It seems like you're very consistent at learning.
Yes, brother. Learning is so important, brother.
How many hours a day?
Every day I read. Every single day I read.
How long for on average?
A book a week.
Okay.
Yeah. A book every single week.
What about podcasts and other things, or you just focus on the books?
So yes and no. So for example, the question is the host of the podcast, why are they making the podcast? Are they making it for AdSense? Are they making it for growth? Are they making it for their own personal gain? Or are they doing it for some reason to like give? I love Joe Rogan. I think he's a G, right? He brings in a ton of guests that I like to listen to. But I want to gain an advantage in the marketplace by uncovering the information and the knowledge that is not mainstream. So I'll go to Yandex, which is like a Russian version of Google that is uncensored, and I'll go and like uncover books about the central bank and the history of money and things that are kind of banned and not allowed or censored or things of this nature, and I'll kind of study those things to have an advantage. If everybody's, no offense, right? If everybody's out here reading Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, what advantage do you have?
Yeah.
If everybody's reading How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, which is a great book, but what advantage do you have?
Yeah.
So you need to be able to acquire information and knowledge that will be able to set you apart. And that means that you have to explore for that information, like a library, right? You can't just go to the most, like the trending section. If you want to go to specific knowledge, you have to search.
How can you decide, okay, this might be legit, or no, this is just a ridiculous conspiracy theory? Because I've kind of gone down that rabbit hole a bit where I would watch a few videos on conspiracy theories, and I'm just think, like, as some of these people just making up these theories just to tell a good story and get views.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's two-sided. Like, there's conspiracy theories that I won't even entertain. Why? Well, for the simple fact that they don't benefit my life in any way, shape, or form, right? So people are talking about, oh, the earth is this shape or that shape. Okay, perfect. It doesn't matter if I live on an earth that's the shape of a fucking Dorito chip. Is it going to make any difference to my finances? Is it going to make any difference to my relationships? No. Okay, so I don't care about that, right? I don't care about how the Titanic sank or this bullshit submarine nonsense that was going on Twitter. Like, I don't care why, because it has no foundational difference to my life. How money works has a big impact on my life. How the educational system was conjured up, which is based on the Prussian school system to create workers and basically slave-minded bots. That's a conspiracy that ended up actually being true. So I want to study the things that will actually have a direct impact to the well-being of my life without rabbit trailing too far into, tinfoil hats and the frogs being gay, which, by the way, you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
Which, by the way, ended up being true, because there's actually like chemicals in the water that are effeminizing frogs, which are probably also feminizing women, but or men. But that's a conversation for that's a conversation for dinner.
I imagine you're a pretty well-traveled guy. You've been to a lot of places.
55 countries.
55. All right. I like to travel as well. I don't think
What's your favorite country, bro?
I think I've not been there yet. I think I would really like Japan. That's on the list.
Bro, you would fucking go. You'd make some badass content.
Yeah, I know. Like every day would be a different video.
Yes.
I would imagine the places I like the most are the not the mainstream places. Not all the tourists go here, because it's all been documented and you already know so much about it. I like going places where I think this is different.
What's your favorite country in Europe? Because you've traveled Europe pretty heavy, huh?
There's still a lot of... I've not ventured into Eastern Europe. I've done a lot of Spain, Portugal's France,
pretty
Germany.
Nice, brother.
Croatia was cool.
Croatia's nice, brother.
Corsica was interesting.
Have you been to Greece?
I've been to a place, Crete, Chania.
Yes.
That was nice as well.
You should go to Greece, bro. Super sick. That's where all the ancient wisdom was. That's where all the Greek gods. That's where you belong, my brother Hercules. Yeah. This guy, you messaged me like, "Hey, bro, I'm back in town." I'm like, "You're like, who's back in town?" I'm like, "What? Hercules is back in town?" So I went to the Parthenon in Greece, and I walk up the staircases. There's olive trees to my right, olive trees to my left, the breeze from the ocean kind of hitting the back of my head. And that's where the Stoics used to sit, and they would converse. And I would go up the stairs and the sun would beam through the big marble pillars. And I sat there. And this is where like the ancient Greeks and the philosophers would sit down and converse, and they would argue and philosophize the intricacies of life. There's an energy there that's immaculate. You should go.